Celebrating the spirit of the South Pacific, today we're exploring Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, here on Walt Disney World Adults Only. Welcome Your Highnesses, I'm Dan and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. Today we're going to be discussing and exploring an original Walt Disney World resort. This one is super relaxing and in my own opinion has some of the best bars and restaurants in the whole of Walt Disney World. That's right, today we are going to Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. I'll give you all the basic information about this resort and then we'll move across to Jackie, Courtney, Taylor, Leanne and Eric to find out their impressions, experiences and expectations of this resort as well. I will start by telling you that I was due to stay here in October 2020, but COVID had other ideas for me. So this is a resort that I really want to stay at. Before we get started, please click subscribe and then tell me in the comments down below, have you stayed at the Polynesian? What was it like there? And if you haven't stayed, would you like to stay there? Please tell me why. Right, here we go. Let's start off with some detail about this resort before we get some opinions. So, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort opened way back in 1971 and was one of the two original Walt Disney World Resort hotels. It is a AAA 4 Diamond Award winning resort and also a Disney Vacation Club resort as well. Combined, it boasts 872 rooms, with 380 of these being DVC accommodation. And this is a resort that has the over-the-water Bora DVC bungalows. This resort is made up of 11 longhouses, and these are both 2- and 3-story buildings spread throughout the property. Each longhouse is named after an island on the Polynesian Isle map. The Great Ceremonial House is where it all happens though. This building has the lobby, the bars, the restaurants and the shops too, but the Great Ceremonial House has no guest accommodation rooms in it at all. Much of the Polynesian resort has been closed. This is whilst extensive refurbishment and an upgrade program is being delivered. The works at the Poly include brand new Moana theme rooms, an updated ceremonial house lobby, changes to the monorail station, bolder and brighter facades on the longhouses, and enhanced gardens and fountains too. I think that this work is long overdue and I'm really excited to see the changes for myself. By the time this video airs, most of the work at the Polynesian will be complete. If you're at the Polynesian or if you've visited since the works are finished, please tell us what you think in the comments below. Moving on to the pools, the Polynesian has 2 pools, the lava pool and the Oasis. The lava pool is the main pool and has a towering volcano, a waterfall and a 142-foot water slide. The Oasis pool is a leisure pool. It's a bit more adult, it's a bit more relaxing and it's far better if you just want to swim. Transportation options here are plenty and amongst the very best of all the options at Walt Disney World. You can take the monorail to the Magic Kingdom or from the Ticket and Transportation Centre you can go to Epcot on the monorail as well. There is also a water taxi which takes you across the Magic Kingdom, and as with every resort there's bus transportation as well. With the construction of new walking paths you'll very soon be able to walk from the Polynesian to the Magic Kingdom via Grand Floridian. This resort has its own little beach and offers motorised boats for rental too. The theming at the Polynesian is calm and tranquil, and as I mentioned earlier you will find some of the very best restaurants and bars here as well. Table service restaurant Ohana is my favourite. The dinner, oh my, go here for the dinner. The breakfast here is good too, but this is all about the dinner. During normal times, breakfast comes with characters Mickey, Pluto, Lilo and Stitch, but seriously, go for the dinner. Ohana has very recently reopened and I couldn't be more excited about it. Also here you'll find Kona Cafe, which is very good as well. These are both table service restaurants. And the quick service here is called Captain Cook's and it's a really good little quick service. Both Kona Cafe and Captain Cook sell something called Tonga Toast. If you haven't tried the Tonga Toast, you need to get yourself across there to try it. For the tonga toast, they take a large wedge of sourdough bread, they cut a slit in it and stuff it full of banana before deep frying it and then tossing it in cinnamon and sugar. At Kona Cafe, they also serve it with a strawberry sauce. And the coffee at Kona Cafe is really, really delicious as well. On the point of the coffee, Kona Island is the coffee shop here as well. At Kona Island, you can get the same coffee as Kona Cafe, as well as appetizers, pastries, and sushi too. You will also find some of the best bars at this resort as well. Tambu Lounge and Trader Sam's. These places are legendary. In addition to the pool bars, you'll also find Pineapple Lanai. This is the place where you get the Dole Whip with the rum. And finally, during normal times, this is a resort where you will find Disney's Spirit of Aloha show. We will be talking about that a bit later on. In terms of price point, this resort is expensive. Dare I say it, this is probably one of the most expensive resorts in the whole of Walt Disney World. But it's on Seven Seas Lagoon, it has some views of Magic Kingdom, it has access to the monorail, it's got boat transportation, it's one of the original 2 resorts, and the grounds here are beautifully tranquil. So of course it's going to be expensive. And those Bora Bora bungalows, whilst DVC, are kind of the top end of the top end. Imagine staying in one of those. During normal times, you can get club level concierge services here as well, and 2 of the longhouses are dedicated as club level rooms. I think that's all the basics covered. Do you have any questions? If you do, please ask them down in the comments below. Let's start with Jackie. I know she stayed here as a child, and excitedly she has a trip booked to stay here next year. Jackie, tell us all about the Polynesian.
Thanks, Dan. It's been quite a few years since I stayed at the Poly, 1992 to be exact. However, I always make it a point to take either the monorail or the resort boat over to grab a drink from the pool bar. I also like to pop into the restaurants too while I'm there. I've been at Kona and Ohana and had great service at both. Okay, so the last time I stayed at Poly was back in 1992. That was forever and a day ago, and I'm hoping things have changed since then. What I do remember, the lobby and the grounds were really lush and tropical feeling. It really didn't even feel like you were at Disney. And it was definitely an upgrade compared to the motel we were staying at on I-4 before our stay at the Poly. I remember the rooms being decked out in greens and browns and just having a really lush Hawaiian feel to them. We were on the first floor and our room had 2 queen beds and a sleeper sofa. My favorite was the sleeper sofa because I didn't have to share the bed with my sister. She used to steal the pillows and kick me. We had a first floor room and had a little patio outside. I remember looking out the window every morning and being able to see ducks and rabbits grazing on the grass outside our window. As a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing to be able to ride the monorail from your hotel to Magic Kingdom or transfer it over at TCC to Epcot. Back in those days, you were able to request to ride in the front of the monorail with the monorail pilot. This is honestly one of the best memories I had of the entire trip. As you can see, my sister and I are sporting our lovely 1990s gear. Sadly, after the tragic monorail accident back in 2009, this option is no longer available. It's been about 29 years since I stayed at the Poly, and I thought it only right to be part of my split stay at my next trip in January. I don't think I'll ever be able to afford to go to Hawaii, so this is the next best thing. For this trip, I'm actually doing a split stay between Pop Century and the Poly. I am so excited for the second half of my trip at the Poly to be able to explore the bars, the pools, and be able to just relax and watch the Magic Kingdom out on the beach. Fingers crossed Trader Sam's is open. I'd like to see what it's all about. I am so excited to stay here in January. Courtney, would you want to stay here?
Thanks, Jackie. I am so excited for you for your upcoming trip, and I cannot wait to hear all about it when you get back. My experience at the Polynesian is just visiting Ohana, but I do want to stay there. Of the monorail resorts, this one would be my #1 choice to stay at. Of all of the resorts on property, the Polynesian lands in my top 5 of ones that I would love to spend an evening at or even an entire week. I've had dinner at Ohana, but I really want to try Trader Sam's. I've heard a lot of great things about it and the fun environment, but I just haven't made it over there yet. It is on the list though, and I will make it there one day. What I love about the Polynesian is the environment. It is so island, tropical themed that you almost forget that you're in Disney World. It really takes you to another place. When I do make it to stay at the Polynesian, I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna stay at one of the bungalows. The bungalows sit on the Seven Seas Lagoon and look directly towards the Magic Kingdom. The bungalows are private houses on the water. Each bungalow is equipped with its own kitchen, separate sleeping bedrooms, large living space, and a deck that also features its own hot tub area. Each bungalow also has a washer and dryer, so you can actually pack relatively lightly and be able to have clean clothes for the length of your stay. The bungalows, however, come at a hefty price. These prices range anywhere from a couple thousand up to $5,000 per night. So when I go, everybody I know is coming over to stay with us, just to feel like I've gotten my money's worth. We'll have a party. It'll be epic. Taylor, like me, I also think that this resort would be your #1 choice of the monorail resorts. Am I right?
Thanks, Courtney. You're right. I really love the Polynesian Resort, but I have only visited thus far. For one, the South Seas theme there is just my aesthetic completely. The landscaping, the waterfalls, the pool areas, all of the wonderful flowers are so beautiful. And when I first walked into that lobby, it was so grand and wonderful. And with that renovation, I cannot wait to see what it looks like when I go back. The overall beachiness that the Polynesian just sort of exudes is just so lovely. It's like going on a beach vacation without leaving Central Florida. The Polynesian being on the monorail line is a great perk for me getting to Epcot with that transfer at the TTC. It being so close to the Magic Kingdom doesn't really matter to me. As I've said in the past, the Magic Kingdom is my least favorite park, so I may go there once on a trip, unlike the other parks, which I will visit several times. The problem with the Polynesian is, of course, the price. It's a deluxe resort and it is so expensive. So if you're like me and can't afford to stay at the Polynesian, I think this is at least a must-visit resort when you're at Disney World. And that is because of the amazing restaurants and bars there. I'm not gonna go super in depth, this isn't a dining review, but I've been to Ohana and it was a really great meal and probably is one of my top 10 restaurants in Disney. The food there is really yummy and the ambiance is so nice and relaxing and peaceful, and of course, the bread pudding. If you watched our dessert video, you will know that the Ohana bread pudding is my favorite dessert in all of Disney. But I think the absolute winner at the Polynesian is Trader Sam's. This absolutely tiny, fabulously themed bar is just an absolute must-do. This bar is so much fun and gives you a really personalized experience because it's so small. I think the capacity might be around 40 people, and a lot of the people that visit Trader Sam's, they go a lot, which is great because when you order certain drinks there, there are chants that all of the servers chant along with, and things happen and pictures move and lights flash. And all of the other guests are participating in this because you learn them very quickly when you're there, and it is the greatest time. Plus, it is a tiki bar, so there are tiki rum-based drinks, which are my favorite. Some really delicious drinks there. If you want to go to Trader Sam's, you're going to want to get to the Polynesian pretty early before it even opens in the late afternoon. You have to get your name on a list and then they will text you to get in. And sometimes that wait can be really long. But Don't worry, if you don't want to wait that long, or if you need something to do while you're waiting to get in, you can go to Tiki Terrace. It is a little bar lounge outside of the Polynesian, and you can get the same drinks there, a lot of the same drinks that you can get at Trader Sam's. So though I can't afford the Polynesian, it is my #1 monorail resort of the 3 because of the theming, the wonderful food and drinks, and just the lovely feel of the resort. Plus, who wouldn't want to stay in one of those over-the-water bungalows someday? That is the dream. I know you have dined here too, Leanne. What did you think of the resort? Do you want to stay there?
Thanks, Taylor. My first impression of the Polynesian Resort was it was a little bit dark, but after exploring it, I fell in love. I've visited the Polynesian on 2 different occasions. The first one, we ate at Kona Cafe, which, it was nice. I would maybe go back, but I would prefer to eat at other places. The second occasion was to go to the Spirit of Aloha dinner show. As we arrived to check in for the Spirit of Aloha show, we was handed a flower garland and escorted to our table. I thoroughly enjoyed the dinner show. I also enjoyed the food. The seats we had a great view, and throughout the entire thing, all the cast members would make sure that the plates and the glasses were all topped up. I would thoroughly recommend it. The show itself was so entertaining. I would love to stay at the Polynesian, but there are others higher on my list. Those being the Grand Floridian and the Contemporary, which we all know is my favourite all-time Disney resort. I did a video on it. We will link it in the description down below. If I did stay here, I would love to stay in the water bungalows. They are such a great added feature to the resort. I know the Polynesian's on your list, Eric. How high up your list is it?
It sure is, Leanne. It's pretty high up on my list, actually. I first visited the Polynesian Village Resort in 2015 when we went there to have dinner on my very first trip to Walt Disney World. I love the entire tropical vibe of this resort. When we first entered the main lobby, we were entered with huge alohas and greeted and given tropical flower leis. The entire lobby is huge, open, and big. It's decorated with lots of tropical colors, glass and wood accents, stone floors, and tropical flowers and plants everywhere. My dream is to one day stay in one of the overwater bungalows here, but that's kind of like a Disney bucket list item for me. I'd be just fine staying in a standard room, maybe with a lake or a theme park view. The lava pool looks so cool. The backdrop of this pool is a huge volcano, and really walking anywhere around the Polynesian Resort really just feels like you're on a tropical island, certainly not in the middle of Central Florida. One of my main draws to this resort are the dining options. To me, it truly is a foodie's paradise. We try to visit the Poly at least once every visit because we love the dining options here. A tradition of ours on every Disney trip is to go to Ohana for dinner. You can also get your Dole Whip fix right at the Polynesian Village Resort. At the Pineapple Lanai, which is located right outside the lobby on the way out to the lava pool, you can get pineapple Dole Whip either by itself or swirled with vanilla. And you can get it as a float as well with pineapple juice, just like they serve in Adventureland at the Magic Kingdom. But something that you can get at the Pineapple Lanai that you cannot get at the Magic Kingdom is rum with your Dole Whip. Well, I think that's all of us, Dan. I know you had a trip planned here, but it was actually canceled due to COVID. Lakeview, I hear?
Thank you, Eric. It isn't a sore point at all. I do completely appreciate it's a first world problem, but I was so disappointed to have to cancel. But the borders were closed, so no Lakeview for me. Thank you all for your experiences and your expectations. I think we can all agree this is a really, really beautiful resort. This is a bucket list resort for me to stay at, and I really, really cannot wait for my next trip, as I'm really hoping to stay here. I've never stayed here, but I've always wanted to. I love the smell, the ambiance, and the general tranquility. I love the proximity to the Magic Kingdom and the access to the monorail. And as many of you already know, I absolutely love the water taxis. So on every single trip, I typically whiz over on a taxi boat across the Polynesian, and then I take the monorail back. Ohana is one of my absolute favourite restaurants, and it's one of the first reservations I try to get for every single trip. I've dined for breakfast and dinner, and in all honesty, I could take or leave the breakfast. It's great value on a Disney dining plan, but I definitely wouldn't pay out of pocket for it. Don't laugh, but I've never actually seen Lilo and Stitch, and so I don't really get the characters that come around and see you during breakfast. It's all a little bit strange. And for breakfast, it's full of noisy kids and over-the-top parents, and it really is the last thing that I want to start my day with. Dinner here though is delicious. Every single mouthful is so tasty and flavourful. I will just say that I've never been impressed with the servers at Ohana. The service there isn't great, and they repetitively call you cousin, which kind of creeps me out. And you always feel that they're trying to rush you whilst you're eating so they can turn the table over for the next customer. So I don't really like the service, but the food is incredible. I've dined at Kona Cafe as well for lunch, and that was really good food and better service as well. And a visit to Captain Cook's for a portion of Tonga toast is on the agenda for every single trip. Overall, the Polynesian Resort is absolutely stunning, and I really do love just taking some time to walk around, look at the ceremonial house and explore the grounds. It really is beautiful, and it's so high up on my list of places to stay. And I'm absolutely desperate to get into that pool. I haven't been inside the rooms yet, but watching other people's vlogs, they look really quite impressive and really relaxing. And I've always said that the lobby needed a huge overhaul. It just looks so 1970s and dated to me. But with the refurbishment of Great Ceremonial House, I absolutely cannot wait to return and see how it now looks. I am genuinely excited to stay here in the future. I'm already double vaccinated, and by the time this video airs, borders may have reopened, so I could be in the process of booking a trip. Who knows? So that concludes our thoughts on Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Would you like to stay here? Please tell us in the comments below. We now have lots of videos about Walt Disney World Resort hotels and vlogs too. We've put all of those videos into a special playlist, which I'll link in the description below, and also a link should pop up here as well.
Thank you so much for watching this video.
If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up.
And share this video with your friends to help them plan the most magical Disney vacation.
Subscribe to our channel today, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when we launch a new video.
Don't forget to join us on our Walt Disney World Adults Only Facebook group, where we will continue this discussion and many more.
And in the meantime, remember, never grow up.